Could Naruto convince Darth Vader to give up the dark side and return to the light? Is his infamous Talk-No-Jutsu strong enough to convince Frieza to give up his villainy? What about Thanos or Ganondorf? Today I'll be taking a look at some of the most popular and despicable villains across fiction and asking the very important question, could the hero of the Leaf actually convince them to be better, or is it all just a big meme? Not only that, but I'll tell you exactly what his strategy would be and how their confrontations would go down. And if you didn't know, Talk-No-Jutsu might be more than just a joke, an actual canon ability written into the series by Kishimoto. So smack that like button, subscribe, and stick with me as I tell you exactly who Naruto could and could not Talk-No-Jutsu. First, what the hell does that even mean? Talk-No-Jutsu is a term created by the fandom as a joke, to make fun of the fact that the majority of villains Naruto fights end up seeing the error of their ways and joining the heroes, just because Naruto talks to them. Now, if you're at all familiar with the themes of the series, you know that this is the point. The underlying message of both Part 1 and 2 of Naruto is empathy. If people try, they can really understand each other. And we see that in most of the fights. In the very first arc, Naruto comes up against the rogue Zabuza of the Hidden Mist, who believes all ninja are just emotionless tools to be used to fight for others. But after Haku dies, Naruto is able to see past his philosophy of human weaponry, pleading with him to remember how much he cared for Haku. And this works. Our first instance of Talk-No-Jutsu, Naruto successfully convinces Zabuza to renounce his cold, unfeeling ways and die to protect them. Naruto then goes on to defeat Gaara during Operation Konoha Crush. Gaara is a Jinchuriki, the vessel containing the one-tailed beast Shukaku, and as such was vetted and manipulated by his village to become a living weapon, trained to believe his only purpose is violence and killing the only way to validate his existence. Naruto challenges this by countering that the bonds we forge with others are enough to give a person's life meaning, and then they have a big old ninja fight about it. But in the end, when the two are lying in the dirt, battered and broken, Naruto chooses not to kill him, but to be empathetic. He tells Gaara that he understands loneliness, and that it hurts more than anything. He knows from experience. Finally meeting someone who not only understands his pain, but believes in another way out, this shakes Gaara to the core, eventually leading him to becoming a big ol' softie with kind of a stupid haircut. Naruto would continue on just like this. He convinced Tsunade to face her fears by reminding her about the love she used to fight for. He confronts Pain, showing Nagato that he continues to carry on the ideals and hope of Jiraiya, despite how cruel the world may be. He convinces the Nine Tails inside of him, considered up to this point to be a being of pure evil and malice, that humanity can be worth trusting. He bonds with Kurama as a friend and partner, instead of treating him like a monster. And he even reached Obito, the man who killed his parents and believed that the world was a hopeless hell only worth replacing, by pushing past all the rage and reminding him of his childhood dreams of becoming Hokage and making this hellish world a little bit better. Again and again, Naruto clashes with villains, learns about their philosophy and worldview, and openly challenges it by empathizing and stubbornly pushing through all the lies that they've been telling themselves for years. But what about when villains aren't all that interested in talking? Well, believe it or not, Naruto actually has a real ninja ability that allows him to bypass this and empathize with them anyway. After the Pain arc, Naruto very briefly clashes with Sasuke when Sakura is trying to assassinate him, and when he does, the two of them are transported to this sparkling, glowing void where they have a short interaction. Later, when Naruto confronts Obito and convinces him to finally turn back on Madara's plan, he and Obito both appear in this sparkling void. You know, the iconic shot where he reaches out his hand? And then finally, when Naruto and Sasuke have their climactic battle at the Valley of the End, we see Naruto face Sasuke in this void, followed by several scenes where the two of them seem to go on a stroll through their memories, watching their younger selves interact. This isn't just artistic expression, it's ninshu. Explained by the Sage of Six Paths, ninshu was the original plan for how the people of the world could use chakra. Instead of channeling chakra into techniques for violence, ninjutsu, ninshu is where one person extends their chakra to connect with another, so their thoughts and feelings can be shared in the realest sense without the threat of miscommunication. It was meant to end all conflict, to allow people to understand one another. Ninshu is essentially what Naruto's parents did right before they died, leaving a small portion of their chakra sealed inside Naruto to awaken and speak with him when the time was right. You know how his talk with Kushina was inside a sparkly void? Yeah, and this ninja ninshu is something that happens unprompted when high-level ninja clash, because this is what their chakra was originally meant to be used for. It's not a bug, it's a feature. That's why it happened to Naruto and Sasuke when they clashed after the pain arc. They had both grown enough in their chakra mastery. And Naruto's not the only one. Killer Bee can read people's minds and hearts by fist bumping them. That's him using ninshu. So, Talk-No-Jutsu is actually a real technique, but it's not a win button. Even though Naruto unwittingly used ninshu on Sasuke this first time, it didn't convince him to stop, because Naruto hadn't yet experienced the war arc to be able to fully understand Sasuke's pain. Naruto needs to be able to actually empathize with a villain, and they need to be in an emotional state to be receptive to it. So, with all of that out of the way, who can Naruto Talk-No-Jutsu? First up, how does endless empathy stack up against the inevitable? Thanos, the Mad Titan, is one of Marvel's greatest and most fearsome villains. In the comics, Thanos is literally in love with death, the cosmic entity that represents the end of all life. He worships her and romantically pursues her. He only collects the Infinity Stones and wipes out half of all life in the universe as a gesture of his love for Lady Death. In the MCU, Thanos is a lot more psychologically interesting. He's nuanced. As we see him in Infinity War, he views himself as a hero. He thinks he's doing the cosmos a favor, saving it from the poverty and famine that destroyed homeworld of Titan by making the difficult choice to achieve balance and reduce life so that those left can thrive. But this seems to clash with all of his other appearances. He's also a cruel, uncaring father. He murdered the parents of Nebula and Gamora, kidnapping them and turning them into ruthless assassins under his guidance, and punishing them extremely harshly every time they failed. He tore Nebula apart piece by piece and forcibly transformed her into a cyborg, someone he claims to call his daughter. He delights in violence, enjoying his fights with the Hulk, Thor, Tony, and Cap, and when the snap is reversed in Endgame, his entire philosophy of perfect balance immediately goes out the window, instead deciding to completely rewrite the universe from the beginning in his image. It's clear that Thanos is a vain, vindictive, cruel monster who justifies his actions to himself through his balanced philosophy, but deep down he knows it's all a lie, something he chooses to ignore, which is the exact sort of thing Naruto would be able to pick out. I imagine their confrontation starting with a very simple conversation, Naruto catching wind of Thanos' actions as he killed half the life on various worlds throughout the cosmos. He would ask why, and Thanos would explain his philosophy, that there aren't enough resources, the world needs to be altered if it is to continue. This is an idea Naruto is deeply familiar with. It has shades of Madara's infinite Tsukuyomi plan, which required killing thousands of innocents too. As the two clash, Thanos using the power of the Infinity Gauntlet to warp space, manipulate time, and shift reality, Naruto would land a strike on him, and something fascinating would happen. I think Naruto would enter the Soul Stone. See, ninshu allows Naruto to extend his chakra into someone to essentially enter their soul, but Thanos has the Soul Stone in his gauntlet, something that allowed him to pick out the real Doctor Strange amongst his 100 copies. It would also allow him to see the real Naruto between all of his shadow clones and act as a defense against ninshu. Here, Naruto would speak to Thanos just like Thanos spoke to Gamora after the first snap. They would speak freely without the threat of their physical battle continuing, but Naruto would not get the advantage of instant understanding that ninshu provides. He would need to be able to convince Thanos to change his ways without ninshu, and that's not happening, right? Well, I think he might. After all, he's convinced plenty of people using only his words and actions before. Zabuza, Gaara, Tsunade, and Pain, and he does have something to empathize with Thanos about. He lost his parents due to a cruel and uncaring world, and made it his life goal to become Hokage and fix the ninja world, putting a stop to the cycle of hatred. This is very similar to how Thanos lost his planet and plans to save reality. Naruto would cut through to that initial positive desire and show him how it clearly clashes with his actions, which decimate instead of actually bringing balance. I think Naruto has ground to stand on here, but can someone like the Mad Titan really be shown reason? Actually, yeah. We've seen it already. In Season 1 of Marvel What If, one scenario shows us T'Challa being kidnapped by Yondu instead of Peter Quill, and using his wisdom, eloquence, and negotiation skills taught to him by the Wakandan royal family, T'Challa's Star-Lord convinces Thanos to give up his quest for the stones, and that there is more than one way to reallocate the universe's resources. He even ended up joining the Ravagers alongside him. So if T'Challa can convince Thanos to change his ways that drastically, all through simple conversation, of course someone with a track record like Naruto could do it too. Naruto could Talk-No-Jutsu Thanos. Next, Galactic Emperor and everybody's favorite space racist, Lord Frieza from Dragon Ball Z. The youngest of a family of genetic anomalies amongst an already powerful alien race, Frieza has lived his entire life worshipped and feared by everyone around him, conquering countless planets across the universe with his personal army of minions. Frieza is petty and completely selfish, and delights in the pain and fear of others. He'll kill his own soldiers for the slightest mistake, or just for his amusement. He's genocided entire planets full of people with a wave of his finger, enslaved their inhabitants, and sold whatever's left to the highest bidder. As a mutant alien, Frieza actually contains his incredible power through transformations, reducing his power dramatically with each new form. We've seen Frieza pushed to the brink several times. When his incredible power and position as strongest in the universe is challenged, he turns into a tantruming child. When he found himself overpowered by Super Saiyan Goku, he chose to detonate planet Namek to get himself out of the fight, but his fear of death prevented him from doing so instantly. When he was defeated and granted mercy by Goku, he wasted the opportunity as soon as he got it, immediately choosing to try and stab Goku in the back as he was leaving. And when he managed to survive by some miracle, was saved and his body repaired with machine parts, his first thought wasn't introspection, but revenge. Frieza makes the selfish, immoral choice at every given opportunity. Can Naruto manage to break through a heart that black? I think that if Frieza touched down on the ninja world with the intent to kill its inhabitants and add it to his planetary real estate, Naruto would instantly take out his forces and clash with his first form. Using Kurama's power and his Six Paths chakra, I think Naruto would actually make a fairly good fight for Frieza, something that would infuriate the tyrant. He would take this as a personal insult and berate Naruto, calling him Fox the same way he calls Saiyans monkeys. When he tells Naruto to prepare to submit and begins to transform into his second form, that's when Naruto would strike. Unlike in Dragon Ball, ninjas do not wait and let their enemies transform. As they clash, Naruto would extend his chakra and perform ninshu, and I think we get some very interesting insight into Frieza. For the most part, he's completely despicable. He doesn't have a noble goal behind his evil actions, no tragic backstory, no just ideals that faded over time. He's completely selfish down to his very core. But there is one way in which Naruto could relate to him. As a child, Frieza was so powerful that he would terrify everyone around him with his uncontrollable ki. It's why he created his transformations, to contain that energy. Naruto knows what it's like to be feared by everyone around him, as everyone in the Leaf Village avoided him as a child due to the nine-tailed fox sealed inside of him. He would try to relate to Frieza, to show him that his power doesn't have to be feared, that he can have peers instead of subjects, that he doesn't need to be the child everyone cowers away from him. But unfortunately, even with a perfect understanding of one another, I don't think Frieza could be swayed. We've seen his entire belief system, constructed on the idea of his own inherent superiority, be torn down by Goku, and it didn't cause him to reflect or reconsider, it just pissed him off. Try as he might, Naruto would not find any light hiding within Frieza's cold and empty heart. He'd be forced to destroy the tyrant, killing him before he reaches his second form. Naruto could not Talk-No-Jutsu Frieza. But how about a different alien invader? Conquest, the millennia-old Viltrumite enforcer from Invincible, is named that because he's so damn good at it. He travels to planets across the universe to kill their protectors and slaughter as many civilians as necessary in order to prepare the world for the arrival of the Viltrum Empire. He is ruthless, heartless, and exceedingly efficient at using his Viltrumite powers, super strength, speed, durability, and flight, to tear apart his victims without a second thought. Conquest is terrifying. We see him arrive on Earth to accept Mark's compliance with the Viltrum Empire, and when he refuses, Conquest Conquest delights in the fight that follows. He enjoys brutalizing Mark and those he loves, and creepily toys with him over and over again, sending him a little heart made of his own blood and whispering sweet nothings in his ear as he kneels on top of him. Conquest loves violence. He adores killing. He's so insane that even the other Viltrumites are scared of him. And when Mark tries to speak to him to stop their fight and reach an understanding, he couldn't care less. So what chance does Naruto have? Well, if the infamous scene of Invincible yelling "wait" while Conquest chooses to smash his face in didn't make it clear, he will not be open to discussing anything with Naruto. He would arrive on world, declare the place property of Viltrum, and fly off the handle into a berserker rage the second he faces any opposition. Naruto would need to respond with force, likely swatting him out of the air using a giant Kurama avatar. The two would end up clashing, Conquest tearing through swarms of shadow clones like cardboard, while Naruto beats on him with Rasengans and tailed beast bombs, Conquest cackling as the jutsus slowly tear his body apart. Naruto would pick up on the fact that he's enjoying the thrill of the fight, and probably try to relate to him there, offering him the good fight he's looking for if he'll just leave the ninja world alone. But Conquest is too greedy for that. He'd want to fight Naruto, Sasuke, and every other powerful ninja the planet has to offer him, so Naruto would be forced to use ninju in an attempt to reason with him that way. And here, inside Conquest's soul, we would learn some pretty interesting stuff. Conquest actually has a dark secret, one he only tells those before he's about to kill them, because he believes they will take it to their grave. He is so very, very lonely. All the other Viltrumites really are terrified of him. They think he's an unstable monster. He's always been the one they send to make planets submit, committing genocides over and over for thousands of years, and that purpose has become his entire identity. They don't even give him a name. He's just Conquest. Once Naruto understands this, he's got a real shot, because he has experience convincing a seemingly evil, nameless monster that he can live for more than killing. Kurama. Treated like a weapon by the ninja world for hundreds of years, Kurama was always either under an Uchiha Genjutsu and forced to slaughter people, treated like a terrifying beast by everyone who saw him, or trapped inside the bodies of Jinchuriki. No one ever used his name, only referring to him as the Nine-Tails. It was Naruto's choice to be empathetic towards this beast, to ask his name, to offer his hand in friendship to the supposed monster. That convinced Kurama to give up his centuries-old grudge against humanity. He would be perfectly suited to talk to Conquest, or even have Kurama speak to him. They both know what it means to be lonely, to be rejected and feared by the world. Kurama knows what it means to be used for a purpose and given no name, and Naruto can extend his hand, telling Conquest that if he were to cry, to allow himself to experience the pain and loneliness that he's been repressing for thousands of years, someone would care. Naruto would care. I think that despite his tremendous propensity for evil and cruelty, Conquest is human enough inside that Naruto could reach him. He could Talk-No-Jutsu Conquest. But for an even greater challenge, what about a character who's already experienced something very similar to Ninshu and actually came out the other side worse, influencing others to support his evil? I'm talking about Eren Yeager of Attack on Titan. The primary protagonist turned antagonist of the series, Eren started out as a child with violent and vindictive tendencies, passionately inspired by the concept of freedom. But after a series of terrible and scarring events, the death of his mother, father, and countless friends by the inhuman monstrosities known as Titans, Eren grew into a military extremist, obsessed with crushing whoever or whatever enemies his people may face, all justified by his ideology of freedom above all else. Even when his brother Zeke tried to show him the error of his ways, using the powers of the founding Titan to show him the memories of his childhood and how he was indoctrinated into this mindset by his father, he learned the opposite lesson. Eren was always this way, and even used the opportunity to influence his father's actions in the past, sending him down the path that would allow the present course of history to take place, and escalate the war between Paradis and the rest of humanity, eventually leading to his attempted omnicide, the Rumbling. So, would Naruto have a better chance at convincing Eren than Zeke? I am not gonna tell you that, because I already answered that question in this video here. Could Naruto stop the Rumbling? I go over the logistics of the whole thing, power scaling Naruto, his abilities, the powers of the founding titan, and yes, I explain whether or not he could Talk-No-Jutsu Eren, and how their confrontation would really go down. It's one of my more underrated videos, so definitely check it out. And while you're there, taking suggestions, maybe like, subscribe, consider joining my channel membership to see videos early and exclusive content. You don't have to, but if not, I'll send Naruto to your house and have him reach into your soul and, make you. Anyway, next up, the man with the evil eyes, notorious thief and Gerudo king, Ganondorf Dragmire from The Legend of Zelda. Ganondorf is the immortal and eternal antagonist of the series, fighting against countless reincarnations of Link and Zelda in a never-ending attempt to conquer Hyrule and obtain the full power of the Triforce, the godly relic that will grant him complete and total dominion over reality. Ganondorf is a despicable tyrant full of malice. The few times he manages to take over Hyrule, he uses his dark magic to twist and distort the once beautiful world, freezing over Zora's domain, sealing off the Goron mines, and filling the land with terrifying zombie creatures. He's so evil that the gods themselves have stepped in to prevent his rule, choosing to flood all of Hyrule in an endless ocean instead of allowing him to continue his plans. Ganondorf is so evil that his mere essence, the aura of his soul wafting off his sealed body beneath Hyrule Castle, evolved into Calamity Ganon and plunged the land into hell for 100 years. Ganondorf is an eternal evil because of the nature of his soul. He's the reincarnation of the ancient demon king, Demise. When Demise was defeated by the first Link, the hero of the skies, Demise placed a curse on all who would wield the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero, to forever be bound to a cycle of hatred enforced by his future incarnation. It's not that Ganondorf is a bad guy, he's intrinsically evil, a living curse cast by the world's most primordial malice. So does Naruto even have a chance? If Ganondorf invaded the ninja world, bringing with him his dark magic and legions of monsters, he would be met very quickly with the greatest forces of Konoha in retaliation. As he clashes with Naruto, declaring his new dominion over this land, Naruto would get a glimpse inside his soul and see something terrifying. While Ganondorf looks like a Gerudo man on the outside, his inner representation would be none other than Demise. As an incarnation of the Demon King, Ganondorf has his immutably evil soul. Once Naruto senses the pure malice and gloom emanating from Demise, the insight Ninshu gives him would immediately let him know that this is a lost cause. What's interesting is, I do think he would still feel the need to try. Ganondorf can appear deceptively human. His original goal was to save his people, the Gerudo, from their desert poverty. And in the Wind Waker, he does express some longing and regret. The empire he built all washed away into nothing. Naruto would want to try and empathize, but to relate to these human emotions and convince Ganondorf that his world conquest isn't what's best for his people is probably not happening. After seeing the truth of his black heart, he'd begrudgingly moved to kill the tyrant, only to find his jutsu ineffective. Even with the incredible power of his Rasengans and tailed beast bombs, Ganondorf can only be felled with holy power, like the Master Sword, which was forged by the power of the goddesses. Because Ganondorf has the Triforce of Power, he's immortal and unkillable. Naruto would need to subdue him, and it would be up to the sealing jutsu of the Leaf Village ninja to contain the Demon King as a temporary measure, just like the Kingdom of Hyrule has been forced to do time and time again. Naruto could not Talk-No-Jutsu Ganondorf. Finally, let's move on to the Chosen One, the Miracle of the Force, Dragon of the Galactic Emperor, and the Scourge of the Dark Side, Darth Vader. Primary antagonist of the original Star Wars trilogy, Anakin Skywalker serves as the hero of the prequels, where we learn all about his history and motivation. Born to a slave woman on Tatooine, Anakin was liberated from his fate by a duo of Jedi passing through, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, who saw his natural affinity for the Force and took him on as an apprentice. Anakin was older than most Padawans, though, and as such, he struggled with the Jedi's strict code of emotional repression and detachment, especially as he found himself falling in love with the Princess of Naboo, Padme Amidala. Anakin was drawn deeper into his darker emotions after the death of his mother at the hands of the Tusken Raiders, and due to the manipulation of Sheev Palpatine, secret Sith Lord Darth Sidious. Eventually, after being snubbed by the Jedi Council and fearing for Padme's death, Anakin was convinced to embrace the dark side, falling in line with Palpatine's orders because he believed the dark side could grant him the power to save his loved ones from death. His His emotions overtook him. He slaughtered countless Jedi, including the younglings, choked out Padme because he believed she betrayed him, and even tried to kill his oldest friend, Obi-Wan. After their fight, he was horribly injured and repaired using cybernetic enhancements, fully embracing his transition to evil as Darth Vader. Vader is a monster, a rageful and vindictive enforcer for the Galactic Empire. He'll slaughter anyone he's ordered to, command the genocide of entire planets, and cut down anyone or anything standing in his way. His incredible connection to the dark side of the Force is fueled by his rage, from the constant pain his injuries cause him and his near endless well of self-hatred. If Vader landed on the ninja world, planning to take over and add it to the Galactic Empire, Naruto would quickly dispatch his fleet of ships and armies of stormtroopers using his own fleet of shadow clones. But the clairvoyance he received from his six-path Sage Chakra would immediately clue him into the fact that Vader is like a black hole, a singularity of hatred focused into an infinitesimally small point. Vader's use of the Force would not only make it difficult for Naruto to get close, but the Sith would be able to feel that Naruto is not alone. He could very likely sense the presence of Kurama inside of him. But just like how Kurama can snap Naruto out of Genjutsu, he would also be able to free Naruto from any mental manipulation tricks Vader might try to pull using the Force. Eventually, Naruto would find a way to overpower or sneak past Darth Vader's defensives and smash a spinning Rasengan directly into the whirring energy of Vader's lightsaber, and Naruto's Ninshu would activate. Anakin would see Naruto for the truth of who he is, a man who has fought tirelessly to defend what he loves and cursed himself for his own weakness and inability, to bring back Sasuke to the village, to save Gaara's life from the Akatsuki, or Neji during the Fourth War. He would see Naruto's struggles and know his pain, and in turn, Naruto would learn of Anakin's loss, how he was always kept as an outsider by the Jedi Council, never truly accepted, how his love of Padme was denied to him, how his mother was taken away from him and his emotions punished. Naruto would see in Vader exactly what Luke saw in him: light. There is goodness buried deep within the mechanical heart of Darth Vader, a love for Padme and for their two children. And seeing this, Naruto would tell Darth Vader about his own parents. Just like Vader's children, Naruto never got to know his parents. They were taken from him as a baby. His mother was killed too. But Naruto's parents left their love with him, and the single short conversation he got to have with his mother Kushina was one of the greatest gifts anyone ever gave him. He'd tell Anakin that this sort of gift is something he can still give to Luke and Leia. He doesn't need to hate himself for his failures anymore. He doesn't need to cling to his rage, because that rage was exactly what took Padme away. If Anakin can forgive himself, he might be able to have a family once again. And I think it would work. Darth Vader is deeply evil, but the hundreds of layers of cold, murderous rage are all built on a foundation of love. Naruto would see right through to it, and just like he did for the ninja world, offer Anakin an end to the cycle of hatred. Naruto could Talk-No-Jutsu Darth Vader. Stay frosty.